saw your husband. Good afternoon. I would say ladies and very few gentlemen. That's not the typical case we have, but what a room full of impressive, successful, accomplished, empowered women in this room. Thank you for inviting me. Joy, we're both Carter County girls and go way back when she was a brand new officer over there, so we've known each other for a very long time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to this distinguished group. I told Sheriff Sexton back there that I just left from a room full of people that I typically am yelling at because I have a violation of probation day and I'm fussing at people for not complying with their alternative release. I said, I don't think I'll continue that this afternoon because most of you have guns, so I'll just I'll just be quiet and be friendly and be nice. I always hate to speak after lunch because with this good food that you've had at Grace Meadows, you're going to probably get the car being a little woozy today, so I'll be brief. But I want to congratulate all of you on being here and supporting each other and supporting females that have broken this seemingly never-ending glass ceiling that we all look at every day. And many of you have gone through that ceiling very successfully. We have, of course, elected sheriffs, female chiefs of police at the state, local, and even national level who are accomplished and have gotten to the top of their fields, as many of you have. And it's good to see all these friendly faces that I've seen work very hard in law enforcement over the years and gotten to know in my career as a prosecutor and in private practice and now as a judge. My name is Lisa Rice, for those of you who don't know me. I am one of 2 criminal court judges in this judicial district, which comprises Carter, Washington, Unicoi, and Johnson counties. Judge Street, Stacy Street, and myself handle about 6,000 cases if you count the counts of indictments every year, which is substantially increased over the last few years, as many of you in law enforcement, probation, and other areas know. Due to, of course, the influx of methamphetamine, fentanyl, all the problems we see with drug abuse and addiction. The criminal dockets are fed exponentially with not only drug crimes, but also with property crimes and other crimes associated, child neglect, child abuse, associated with drug use and addiction. So that has made the criminal courts, not only here, but nationwide, explode. I have seen that increase in unbelievable numbers since I was elected in 2014. I am the first female criminal court judge in this district. Judge Phyllis Miller was elected in Sullivan County in the 2nd district, and currently I'm only one of 2 criminal court female judges east of Nashville, surprisingly. So it's still kind of a limited field, at least in this end of the state. We have some female judges that do exclusively criminal work. I am one of those, and I said one of 2 that's east of Nashville. There is one in Chattanooga. There are 5 of 6 female criminal judges in Nashville-Davidson County, and there is 5 in Memphis. So of the judges who deal strictly with criminal cases, there are really not that many of us at the trial level. Just to give you an idea of where females are in the judiciary in our phase of the criminal justice system, there's 2 female judges on the Court of Criminal Appeals in this state. But our Tennessee Supreme Court has a majority of females. We have 3 of 5 are very qualified females who preside over the highest court in the state. When you consider where it is at the national level, and there's quite a few appellate female judges, but at the state Supreme Court, or at the U.S. Supreme Court, I think I wrote down there had been 116 U.S. Supreme Court judges in the history of that court. Only 6 are women. Only 6 out of 116. 4 of those are on that court right now. The other 2 are Sandra Day O'Connor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That shows you, all of you recognize those names, so all of you know how recently that women have broken into that level of government in the judicial sector. So that gives you an idea of where women are going, and it's a little bit slow the higher up you climb. Only the 2nd female state Supreme Court justice that we had in Tennessee was from Johnson City, Penny White. And she told me a story when she was on the state Supreme Court that she was driving. She got pulled over for a brake light or a tail light being out. And the officer asked her, she said, little lady, are you anxious to get home to the judge? Because she had a judicial tag, and he just automatically assumed that she was not the judge, but her husband was. I also have a judicial tag because some of you may know I do have a heavy foot and I get pulled over from time to time. So no one has yet asked me if I'm going home to the judge. So it has changed dramatically, as it has, I'm sure, for all of you. I've gotten to know a lot of females over the years in law enforcement who have successfully risen in the ranks, as well as prosecutors. We have some of those here, probation officers who have grown in the administration of the Department of Corrections and other agencies that serve this state, this county, and this community. It's changed since I got elected in 2014. Lines get blurred. When I first started practicing law, it was pretty much crime and punishment. Some of you in law enforcement particularly may agree with that. You arrested someone for a crime, they went to court, they received their punishment, and that was it. They either got probation, they got on some kind of release, or they served their sentence. There was really not too many alternatives to that, just crime and punishment. Well, even in the last 10 years, that has changed dramatically, and our lines have blurred significantly in what our jobs really are. The first judges I practiced in front of, they didn't think about, what they could do to help people or get people away from drugs or change their lives to the better so they could become productive citizens. Judge Street standing back there. You may die of estrogen poisoning. This is a strong room. But Judge Street and I have worked hard with some other agencies to address these problems, and we joke that we've become part-time judges and part-time social workers. For example, last night we had about 200 people at our recovery court graduation over in Elizabeth, and we had 14 people graduate from that program, and they were combined graduates of both the residential program that we started a couple of years ago and the outpatient program that we started in 2016. So we have worked diligently to provide solutions to people who are engaging in criminal behavior but may not actually be hardened criminals yet. They almost always get there if you don't take some action to lend some help. But we have tried to do that working with different agencies. We've got in this district the Day Reporting Center. That is an intensive outpatient treatment program that Ashton Belcher is the director of, and she's been in my court all day. I know some of our folks are here. Who's here with the DRC? Okay, yeah, Sherry, we've got folks from that program. That is a great program that was started by the late Judge Robert Cupp and Judge Street when he first came on the bench through a grant with the Department of Justice. And they started that as an alternative to just putting people in jail for drug use. People, nonviolent criminals primarily, will use the property crime avenue to feed their drug addiction. They steal a check out of the back of grandma's checkbook. They'll break into a car. They'll, shoplift high-end items regularly, steal from their families, their friends, or loved ones to feed the drug addiction. Well, we look at those folks as an opportunity to lessen the burden on taxpayers, to make those folks and give them the skills, give them the treatment they need to remove themselves from the criminal realm, from the, $80 a day? Who knows what it costs in jail? We've got a lot of folks here from Washington County. Where's Sheriff Sexton? What does it take to keep someone in jail today? All right, $62 every day. That's what you taxpayers pay. Thank you, Chief Rose. $62 every day to keep someone in jail. It's much cheaper to keep them in a program like the Day Reporting Center, like our recovery courts, who can give them treatment, teach them job skills, and teach them what they need to do to stay away from drugs, get out of the environment that made them sick, and stay away from people who were in the same playground and the same playmates. So the people at the DRC work with that. They work in conjunction with the court. They work in conjunction with the Department of Corrections. The DRC was so successful that, about, how long ago was it, Sherry? How long ago? 3 years ago? 4 years ago? Yeah. Okay, 7 years ago, this program was so successful after it was instituted in 2013 that the Department of Corrections rolled it out statewide, and it started right here. They opened centers in Knoxville, Chattanooga, Jackson, Memphis, and Nashville. So the program that started here, and you all know, many of you have been around for a while, know that the state used to end at Knoxville in terms of getting funding, getting any attention from statewide officials, but they saw the success that this program had and rolled it out statewide. Judge Street, myself, some other people, probation, we have the DA's office in conjunction with representatives from the Public Defender's Office, private bar, and our treatment families free provider. We work with the outpatient program and have done that since 2016 on a recovery court. Those individuals come to court every other week. They're regularly drug tested. They're in treatment. They have to do community service. After they're in certain phases and get stabilized, then they go into a job. We get them employment, and it's voluntold. They're told they have to work, even though they volunteer for the program. So not only are they getting clean and sober, they're also saving money to pay toward their child support, their court costs, and other aspects to set themselves up to live independently and hopefully drug-free. And these programs have been very successful, the DRC and the outpatient recovery court for this district. Well, we rolled that into a bigger program, continuing our blurring of lines into social work. And when the Roan Mountain prison, they called it the work camp, it's over in Carter County. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that, especially those of you who worked for DRC or Carter County Sheriff's Department. It was a minimum security work camp where it's a dormitory style setup in a penal facility. It was decommissioned by the Department of Corrections and became available, and it was just this giant facility sitting there. So Judge Street, myself, Judge Jim Goodwin from the 2nd District, and Judge Beth Boniface from the 3rd District did a regional collaboration and were able to secure some funding from the baby doe opioid settlement that actually General Barry Staubus initiated with, at the time, General Ken Baldwin and General Dan Armstrong from the 3rd District to sue the pharmaceutical companies for getting baby doe, a child born addicted to drugs, addicted through their marketing procedures and their mass production of opioids. So General Staubus sort of spearheaded that over in Sullivan County, and that resulted in a $22 million settlement to cities and counties that participated in that lawsuit. So those city councils and commissioners and mayors agreed to give us some of that funding, and we opened the Roan Mountain facility in October of last year, and a house in Johnson City for females. We put them together, we'd have to build a nursery. So we kept them separate, females in Johnson City, men in Roan Mountain, and we kept them separate, obviously. And we have had 2 graduations from that program since our first residents went in October of 2023, following the same sort of intensive drug and alcohol treatment that the DRC engages in and that the outpatient recovery court engages in. So our objective is to not only go back to the tried and true crime and punishment, but also to find solutions to recurring problems, reduce recidivism, reduce continuing crime, provide people who maybe aren't criminals but are engaging in criminal behavior with alternatives to incarceration. Even 10 years ago, folks were like, lock up those drug addicts. They don't need to be on the street. They don't have to do this. But most folks now, and many of you are probably the same way, know someone who've died of an overdose. correct? How many of you know someone directly has died of a drug overdose, fentanyl? How many of you have encountered in your law enforcement work, your EMS work, in the jail, people who are in overdose and you have to Narcan? Many of you. Okay. My family's lost somebody. Many of you have. There is no safety net for high-income earners, professional people, law enforcement personnel. We all have someone who is subject to this problem. So it cuts across all lines, and people are dying every day. Putting them in jail is simply not the solution. Now, again, these are primarily nonviolent offenders who are not eligible for the program, or the violent offenders are not eligible for the program. Violent offenders typically go to jail. They are now not usually eligible for release without high percentage sentences, rapes, aggravated rapes, things like that. Those sorts of crimes deserve the kind of punishment they get if those individuals are convicted. So we have a lot of females that work in that recovery area. We have a lot of females who work in probation that deal with these individuals. We have a lot of females who work in community corrections, and both of our representatives on these teams with our recovery courts are females from the DA's office and the public defender's office. So you have females who are moving into these roles as not only traditionally being prosecutors, being defense attorneys, being probation officers, but they blur the lines a little bit in trying to extend a hand to these particular individuals who are what we call high risk, high need, and they work very hard to coordinate an effort to find alternatives for just going to jail at $68 a day that's coming out of your pockets to fund. So that's kind of a change in the judiciary that I've seen since I've been on the bench, and really a change in the sentencing structure for violent crimes is coming. We just recently had a police officer shot. All of you heard about that. Very tragic situation. I signed the search warrants and the arrest warrant on that particular case last week. It's required in the Constitution that a bond be set on all cases except for capital murder. You are entitled to bail by law. So I set a $250,000 bond on attempted first-degree murder. And believe it or not, that person made bond even though they were out on bond on aggravated assault. There is a constitutional amendment that has been passed, I believe, through the Senate at this point to make certain violent crimes non-bondable. That will be a constitutional amendment that will require your vote for violent crimes to be held without bail with certain review from judges that or typically will be at the Sessions Court or magistrate level statewide to determine if a bond should be set based on a case-by-case basis. But that will change that amendment to hold violent criminals without bail if the judge finds it appropriate. Right now we can't do that. Capital murder is the only thing we can hold without bail. So those things are changing because violent crimes are increasing. I think in 1980 we looked up and the criminal court judge for this district, there was only one at that time, handled about 800 cases. It's now up to 6,000. And I'm sure all of you are not surprised at that in any respect as you see it day to day in your work in law enforcement. Probation rolls are increasing, arrests are getting more, and violent crimes are getting increasingly worse. And all of you deal with that. And how you deal with that, I get it when they're in shackles, they come in court, I see them. Many of you are charged with protecting our safety. So what you all deal with day to day in dealing with folks who are engaging in violent behavior, de-escalating situations from someone who may be under the influence of drugs and delusional, violent, or deranged, I don't know how you do it. I commend all of you for that. Sometimes it's scary enough when folks come into court and I've got an armed security detail with me. So you women who put yourselves on the front line, I congratulate you. I think our speaker this morning, I missed it because I was in court, spoke about self-care. I can't imagine a group of women who need more time to decompress, time to self-reflect, time to take care of yourselves than this group in here. It's probably one of the most high-stress areas of professional careers that you can engage in, dealing with the particular slice of the population that we all deal with and that you guys deal with on the front lines. And your help and your assistance to us is sometimes minimized. We are grateful to all of you who do everything you do every day to keep all of us safe. And I know in recent years you have received a lot of criticism in being in law enforcement, being in the criminal justice realm. Very, very undeserved, very undeserved. One bad action should not reflect against all of us. Same with the judge, same with officers, same with probation or any other area of criminal justice. But the best solution for anything is someone who's got boots on the ground, and that's what this group represents. So I thank all of you for everything you do every day, and I just wanted to speak with you a little bit about the changes in the judiciary and some of the things that we are doing here and in this region to hopefully make your jobs a little better. If there's anything that we can do to help you in your day-to-day endeavors, whether you're a prosecutor, a public defender, probation, law enforcement, please let us know. I think we are approachable. Let us know anything that we can do, any suggestions you have that we can legally and economically implement. We will certainly do that. We work closely with probation. Emily Rogers here is on our recovery court teams. We're grateful to her. We work closely with the attorneys, prosecutors, of course, in our court. We see officers all the time. They've all seen me now at 2 o'clock in the morning with no makeup on and bad breath. So I regret that, but there's not much you can do about it. It's part of the job. So we get to know all of you, and I hope all of you will get to know us. We've got more female judges now than we've ever had across the state. We have Janet Harden is our female judge, sessions judge here. She was appointed by the governor when Judge Nidifer passed away and was reelected in a countywide election a couple of years ago. So you've got a lot of females you can talk to, and women do better one-on-one. So any of you that have anything that can contribute to how we do our jobs, by all means, please let us know. I'm happy to talk to you at any point. I'm in court in Jonesboro all the time for those of you who are from Washington County. I'm in Johnson County, Unicoi County, and Carter County on a regular basis. So please look me up, and I'm happy to hear any suggestions you have. Anybody have any questions? No? All right. Have I talked enough? Where's Joy?